Morning, everybody. To everybody who's joined already, we're just waiting for a couple more people to join into the room here. So we're looking to kick off promptly at 10. So thank you very much for your time, and thanks for taking the time to join this session this morning. And I want to respect your time in terms of we said it will take 30 minutes. And really the idea is to give you a good, clear overview of Great Place to Work, particularly focus on certified and where that fits in the process this morning. So to those that I've met already, and I've met some of you, hello again. And to those of you that I haven't met already, you're very welcome. As I say, my name is Brian Sutton. So looking forward to this session. And thank you to those who have given me some questions in advance. I'm going to answer most of those if I can during the presentation, and then we'll have time at the end for questions that come up during the session when we're here today. So in terms of housekeeping, and that we have a Q&A chat at the bottom of the screen here. So just to make sure you can all hear me loud and clear, if you wouldn't mind just popping in a comment, that would be great. I suppose the weather is always a good place to go to, particularly today. It's I'm in sunny County Wicklow, and it's cold. To put it mildly, it's freezing. But look, it's January, and it's good January weather. So that's all good. Great. I can see comments popping in there. So that's fantastic that we're up and going, and fantastic. Um, Great. So just to give you some sense around, Great Place to Work, and I know we're talking about recognition today, but really Great Place to Work, we're a thought leader and a community of shared knowledge, and that's what we've built our experience on. And we deliver that through lots of client-only events, open events, and then we have our blogs and podcasts as well. The podcast is The Red Cube, and most recently we had a session featuring Woodies. And previous to that, we had Mary Gallagher from Salesforce, who spoke into building team collaboration and building ownership and responsibility in teams. So look, the podcast, it's great. It's a great information source. Like any of your podcasts, it's available, and it's an opportunity to listen to that when it suits you. Um, Really excited about this. This is our Employer Branding Summit coming up at the end of January 31st. Um, and a really strong lineup this year. So been doing this for a number of years in response to client demand and appetite for more information knowledge around building your employer brand, what that means in the market, and how you use your Great Place to Work survey information to inform that. So we have some great brands here. As I say, Core, I know, are starting off and talking about actually creating a brand and how do you go about doing that. Then we have um, two parts of the DHL organization, and Hilda Hegarty there, talking into some particular areas. Maeve McLean from Lidl, which will be really, really interesting to hear about. And of course, we'll have some panel discussions as well. One with TU Dublin, who support us in our Most Trusted Leader Award, and Marina from Great Place to Work. She's our marketing and brand manager at Great Place to Work Ireland. Will be hosting a panel as well. So if you have the opportunity to come along, I know there are still some spaces available, and it's a great day and a great time spent. There'll be some case studies covered, some general conversation, and obviously the opportunity to network as well. So for this morning, in terms of what we're going to cover, and I know, what I'd love for you to do is to leave here with clarity and some understanding around Great Place to Work, and to see it as a framework that you can use to measure and to inform your strategy and your culture. And, within that, then the opportunity to be recognized as Great Place to Work certified, and the other recognition opportunities that are there. So we're going to look at certified, talk into best workplaces, and a new recognition opportunity that's coming up as well. And I'll get into some of those questions as well. So we have Akshita, my colleague, is supporting me, and production manager keeping the whole show on the road, is going to launch a quick poll here for you, just in terms of what your sense of your workplace is currently. So do you believe you work in a great place to work? If you could just click yes or no, and that would be great. the answers will pop up. This is always really interesting for me because some organizations will engage with us and they will leave it until they believe that they are a great place to work and try and do a lot of work in advance. And then others won't actually know where they stand. So they will use us and Great Place to Work to understand and get a better sense of where they're at. Ongoing, a lot of our clients actually do have an internal survey already, and that's not an issue. So I see the results here, 88%. So that's really good and strong. And it's good news that you feel that you are in a great place to work. I'll talk into a little bit soon in terms of what it is that we measure and how we consider a great place to work. And for those that don't believe they're a great place to work yet, you're in the right place. Our style is to meet each organization where you're at and get an understanding of what it is you want to achieve through the program. And then we can work through that. Bear with me a little bit. I just had it there. So in terms of, some of you believe you're a great place to work and some not. What is a great place to work? And more importantly, I think, why would you actually do this? And this is what our clients tell us. First and foremost these days, it really is around attracting top talent, is bringing the best talent you have to your organization, and when you have them, keeping them. So using the survey element to understand what it is that your talent value within your workplace. Giving yourself that competitive edge is really around the employer branding and storytelling about your workplace in the market. In terms of market returns, we have stats and data there, primarily out of the US, where most companies are quoted on the public stock exchange, that demonstrate, and I suppose it's no surprise, that demonstrate that those organizations who have their people aligned to their strategy and to their mission are outperforming other organizations. So when we talk about a great place to work, we're talking about organizations that pay attention to building higher trust environments and higher trust organizations. And the direct connection then is obvious between that and higher performance. Finally, benchmarking is something we can offer. So once we run the survey, we have your data, we can benchmark that for you against a relevant sector or company size or growth phase for the organization, and use that benchmarking information to help you prioritize and to action plan such. So in terms of the overall process, I'd just like to spend a little bit of time here and talking into really what the process looks like in the overview, and then where certified and being certified fits into that. So the process really focuses on 4 steps here. The key one, the core of everything we do, is the Trust Index survey. So that's our employee experience survey. And this is obviously where we capture the data. So in terms of the journey, or in terms of the process, it starts off with your connection with our client success team. And they look at the survey as a project, and they will support you in terms of pre-survey launch and the actual launch itself. The survey then is launched, and all employees or colleagues are invited to take part. It's held open for 2 weeks, and we're capturing the responses during that 2-week window. The next stage then is, while that survey is running, you will fill in a company brief or a culture brief. This is a brief document, very quick to fill in. It takes about 1 hour once you have your data there. And really, if you think about it in terms of, this is the information that you want to share with the public when you're certified. So this is how you will profile your organization. So it's quite simply some headline information that you want to share there. Stage 3 then, we've captured your information, we have your company brief, and we're in position then to share back the data with you to help you action plan, prioritize around that action planning, and support the senior team in cascading the information to the wider organization. And then recognition. The recognition opportunities are available then, and we have those, and we can go through that with you. But just a little focus in terms of the survey. As I say, the survey is the core of what we do, and what does that methodology look like? So in the survey, in the main, we don't ask questions that are open-ended or that are vague. We have fixed positive statements that we make. People who respond to the survey then have a choice to respond on a scale of 1 to 5. Now, the response for 4 is often true, and the response for 5 is almost always true. So this example here is, I'm proud to tell others, I work here. 4 is often true. 5 is almost always true. Both of those are considered to be a positive response. So both of those are considered to be a high trust score. I think that's important around Great Place to Work. So what a great place to work is not, is it's not perfect. It's not a nirvana. It's not where everybody is, doing cartwheels coming into work every day. That's not what we're about. We're saying, on a scale of 1 to 5, 4 and 5 often and almost is considered to be a positive response. We have some open-ended questions in the survey as well to capture comments, suggestions, and some sense around why your colleagues would recommend your workplace to future talent in joining the organization. So in the survey, there's actually a total of 73 statements. And to give you a sense of some of the areas that they measure, there's a total of 17 categories, 17 actionable categories. So we're all about action planning out of the survey and helping and supporting you in that piece. So the 17 categories are broken up into 3 big chunks. First and foremost, it's about achieving organizational objectives. I often say the clue is in the name. It's a great place to work. So what we're about is understanding what is the strategy or the strategy of the organization. What do we need to do then to get your people aligned to that strategy, and what culture do you need to have in place to deliver on that strategy? So achieving organizational objectives is the first and foremost. So you can see the topics that we're covering and the categories we're covering in there between communication and involvement, strategy and direction, innovation and continuous improvement, all areas that will directly impact upon the performance and the success of the organization. The next group of categories that we look at is people giving their personal best. So in here where you have measures around talent management, career and development, recognition, work environment and processes, well-being and engagement. Key areas again. And then finally, we're looking at people working together as a team. So in here, obviously, we have reward, diversity and inclusion measures, giving you scores back around your culture, around teamwork, and now we're also measuring ESG. This is a key area that come up for a lot of organizations in the last year, and it's front and center on discussion a lot lately. So we're able to give scores around that as well. So that gives you a sense around the depth and range of what the survey can capture and where it actually is the foundation block within our process, which then informs the senior management presentation and action planning of results throughout that. So then certified. In terms of being Great Place to Work certified, what does that mean and where does it actually fit into the process? So as I said before, the core of what we're about and what we're measuring is through the survey. We're inviting all employees to respond. So when we talk about certified fitting into the process, this is simply the piece that is measured. It's the survey result, and then we're using the company brief to profile the organization. So the scoring is attached to the survey. There is no scoring attached to the brief document and profile. In terms of being Great Place to Work certified and recognized externally, going back to the scoring mechanism that I talked about. Sorry, Anne, I've actually forgotten to say that we have a poll here just to see, do you run your own survey internally in the organization? So while that poll is filling, I'll just continue around certified in terms of that scoring. So the actual score that you require is 65%, based on the metric that I shared early. So certified is based on the survey and as a scoring within that, and then we are using the company brief as well. So the poll, do you currently have an employee engagement survey? And just waiting for the results of that. So pretty much 50-50. That's really interesting in terms of what that actually looks like. So yeah, we can support you whether you have a survey or whether you don't. In terms of a lot of organizations will have a survey and may have trouble action planning out of that. Using the Trust Index survey combined along with your own survey results can really give us a sense in terms of action planning. So as I say, certified, the score is minimum score is 65%. Why do organizations really like this, and what I've seen this over the last number of years? They see certified as a safe space. There's no pressure in terms of achieving a rank. It's a fixed standard. It's a lower standard than best workplaces, but you've absolute clarity around what it is that you need to achieve. Some organizations will actually position this in terms of saying, we're going to engage with Great Place to Work with a view to being certified over the next 3 years. So they're giving themselves time that if they don't achieve certification the first time around, that's absolutely fine. And then we can focus on the particular areas or deficiencies that they need to work on to achieve certification. So there's actually no deadline around certification and participation. We can turn the process around in 6 weeks. Once you're certified, your certification is validated for 12 months. So it'll run for 12 calendar months from the date that you close your survey out. Once you're certified, then we're in position to share this certified logo that's on the screen with you and help you activate and leverage that across the platforms that you want. So once you're certified, then you're automatically included into the best workplaces consideration. So there are a number of best workplaces lists here. Once you're certified, you're automatically included for consideration into best workplaces as a national list. So that's best workplaces in Ireland. And that list is coming up at the end of February. So best workplaces 2024 is coming up at the end of February, based on all the data that we gathered in 2023. You can also see some other recognition opportunities here: best workplace for women, best workplace pharma and healthcare, and best workplace in tech. And on the right then, we have some of our media partners in terms of helping to give media exposure. So our portfolio of best workplaces and recognitions is really growing now. And this is an opportunity to announce our newest one, which is on your left there, which is best workplaces in health and well-being. So a strong response from clients to this, I have to say, in recognizing the importance of this area. So when I talk about certified, there is no deadline, because the idea of certified is that you engage and you run the survey with the view to being certified when suits the rhythm of the organization or the rhythm of the business. When we get to best workplaces nationally and other sector lists, we do have some deadlines, and they're available on our website. For example, here, best workplace health and well-being, you simply need to be certified by March 15th of this year to be included in best workplaces 2024. So if that's in your scope and on your radar, it's an opportunity to engage and to jump in on that opportunity. Just a quick cover here in terms of the opportunity to activate your achievements. So once you are certified, it's leveraging that opportunity both internally. I wouldn't miss the opportunity to celebrate certification internally, and as an opportunity externally as well to celebrate that. And this is really starting to leverage your employer brand across the market. So just to give you a sense of our solution, I think we've kind of covered there well in terms of the survey and action planning out of the survey. We do also have culture consultancy opportunities, and clearly the recognition opportunities. And then we have pulse surveys. So we'd have a trust pulse. So a lot of organizations will run a pulse survey during the year, particularly larger organizations, I suppose. And some organizations will engage with us for the first time through a pulse survey. So there's some opportunities there for you. Now, as I said at the start, thank you very much to those who sent in some questions and some questions that come up. So frequently asked questions I have here as well. So I'm just going to actually move through these. I know they're on your screen, but I'm just going to read through them so that you have some answers. And I have another piece to come to, and then we can get into our Q&A as well. So often asked, how long is the survey kept open? The standard survey window is 2 weeks. And how long does it take somebody to complete? Our data would show it takes on average around 12 minutes for somebody to fill in the survey. Do you survey everyone? Are you asking everyone to fill in the survey? The answer is yes. Each person in the organization is invited to respond. Now, what response rate do we need? Response rate, really, we're looking for the majority of people to respond. When it gets to the granular level here, it depends on the size of the organization. When I talked about client success earlier on, when we're engaged with you and we're pre-survey launch, we'll be able to tell you exactly what that figure is in terms of response rate and what that looks like. Is the data confidential? huge question, comes up all the time, and something that's really important to inform your people about in advance of the survey actually going live. The survey is fully confidential because Great Place to Work launched the survey and the data comes back to us. We share it back with the organization only on a level where it's fully confidential and anonymous. Now, do I need a lot of resources to complete? This is a question has come up a lot for me, and it kind of comes back on a loop, because when people were engaged with Great Place to Work before, it was probably more clunky. It was older times. We have worked really, really hard with the team to lighten the effort required on your desk to engage with Great Place to Work. So Great Place to Work now provide full client success team who will provide you with support in pre-survey launch, ongoing support during the survey launch, and then obviously we have the opportunity to come back with results and to help you action planning. So the idea is that while this is a really important piece, it doesn't occupy a huge amount of time on your desk. For organizations here, and I'm fully aware that we have a full range of organizations here this morning, from small, medium, large, Irish, international. Around languages, if that's important to you, yes, we provide a full range of languages options. Can it be completed on multiple devices? Yes, we do that with organizations all the time. How soon will you get your results? So we can turn the process around in 6 weeks. So 6 weeks from when we have your client success meeting set up and survey launch, we can turn the process around in 6 weeks and book everything in and identify key timelines in there. So will everybody see results? That's really an answer for yourselves. Results will be shared back to the senior management team or the team that you as an organization decide are going to receive those results before you cascade to the rest of the wider organization. And that's something certainly that we recommend that you do. And in terms of action planning, as they say, we provide support around that in the senior management presentation. So there were questions all, specifically around the survey and the survey itself. Then other questions around what does the process look like, investment and activation. So when can you start the process? Well, you can register now, and then we can put in place a good plan to run the whole process for you. And it's worthwhile doing that, registering, and then looking at the best time to run the survey. There's no deadline. Sorry, I should ask the question. Is there a deadline for certification? There is no deadline for certification. We have survey windows open all the time during the year. They are subject to availability. So there are times when it's busy. So that's why I'm encouraging you to register in advance, and then we can fit in the survey window. Are we certified for 12 months? Yes, certification is validated for 12 months. So for example, if you're certified in March 2024, you'll be certified for March 2024 around to April 2025, and then be included for consideration in Best Workplaces 2025. Can we be on more than one list? Yes, once you're certified, you automatically have access to Best Workplaces and relevant lists. If it's a sector list, or for example, Best Workplace for Health and Wellbeing, you're automatically included into those. What are the best ways to celebrate our achievement? We provide the logos, we provide support from digital marketing with certification pack, and give you a steer, and there are some further opportunities to access there as well. In terms of cost, a question that always comes up, and to try and give you some sense around this, we would look at small organizations that would range, up to 100 people. Your investment figure there can range from 5,000 to 7,500. For a medium-sized organization, which is 101 up to 300, your investment figure is really, from 7 to up to maybe 12 and a half. And then for large organizations, it's above that, depending on the size of the organization and the level of engagement that you want. So do you want to just purely look at certification, or do you want to look at culture consultancy, at accelerating the results throughout the organization? What sort of support is it that you're actually looking for ongoing? In terms of ongoing costs, there are cost increases year on year as they go along, as we all suffer with inflation and such. There's an opportunity to lock in a rate over 3 years as you engage for 3 years, as that option is an opportunity to do that. So I hope that gives a good sense of kind of questions in there. what I'm going to do is just come to a slide here, which really gives a good sense of the flow of the whole process. If you follow the arrows in the train track as I look at this in terms of starting bottom left and working through there. Now I can see some questions on one screen. I just need to, I think I just need to, okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go back in and start to answer some of your questions. I'm conscious on time. I want to move through these as quickly as I can. So the first question is there a minimum threshold for participation in survey by employee base? So you were always looking for the majority response. I think I covered that during the presentation. There is a minimum threshold, and we can look into that based on your specific headcount. Are there options when you get certified to pick your industry to say, for example, best workplaces for animation? So in terms of recognitions, I've covered them there in terms of industry. So what we currently have in industry is best workplace in pharma and healthcare, and also best workplace in tech. That is the amount of recognitions that we have by sector. Currently, we are, as you can see, growing that sector range all the time. Do you cater for businesses operating across multiple locations? A question from Alwyn, and I did see your question in advance. Thank you for that. I didn't get to put it into the slide. So we do, we absolutely do. A lot of our clients would be across international and global boundaries. So we would run global surveys, and the idea is that we would run the whole survey for your organization at the same time and identify then the countries. And that will give an opportunity to be certified by location as well. And is there a charge per employee? Pauline has asked. I think I've covered that in terms of the headcount there. What advice do you give to companies who already complete an in-house survey and risk of over-surveying and overlap action planning? Thanks, Helen, for that question. And I see two strands in that. Certainly, when I started with Great Place to Work, there was a real concern around, survey fatigue. We would have clients who would certainly survey quarterly, some monthly, some even more than that. Surveys have gotten very much more acceptable, easier to complete by different devices. I think what's really important is if people believe that they're being listened to and there's a value in them completing the survey, then they will participate in doing that. So really important around giving feedback back to people around the survey information that's gathered, and involving and collaborating with them in terms of making change and moving that forward. So I wouldn't see any risk in terms of that. In terms of action planning, some organizations, will actually run two surveys quite close together and develop an aligned action plan. Other organizations will leave it 6 months apart, and very much have some clear action planning coming out of Great Place to Work. And we can help you. We can help you with that. We've plenty of experience in that place. So I'm just going to look at some questions here. If you use an external HR partner, can someone else from the business write the culture brief? That's a good question. I get asked a lot, actually, and I didn't think about it. Yes, is the answer. And you can decide who can write the culture brief, and it's good to have a couple of sets of eyes in that. So absolutely, there's no problem in who will fill that out. So in terms of well-being, sorry, so I'll read the question. Do you have further questions if we want to focus on well-being? So in terms of being great place to work and a best workplace in health and well-being, we are taking responses from specific statements within the survey statement set already to ascertain whether somebody is a best workplace in health and well-being. So there's no additional questions. We're just focusing on particular statements in there. More detail around the 65%, Julie. So in terms of the survey structure is that we have positive statements. People answer on a scale of 1 to 5. Both 4 and 5 are considered to be a positive score. We launch the survey of the people who respond. If you score 65% or above, then you're certified, you're a Great Place to Work certified. So the people who respond if they're answering 4 or 5, on average, more than 65% of the time, then you are certified as a great place to work. Sorry, is the cost I mentioned in US dollars? No, the cost I mentioned is in euro. But we can, if you have people in the US, then we can certainly work on that as well in terms of breaking out a cost for you. So we're coming to the end now. I know we have a quick poll that we're going to launch before the end of the survey. If you could take the time to fill that in, that would be great. I would appreciate that. If I haven't answered your question today, then by close of business today, I will. I should say that's my goal is to come back to you with anything I haven't answered. If you have any more questions, my details are here on this slide. So I look forward to speaking to you further and to engaging with you as soon as we can. And thanks very much for your time today. Akshita, thank you very much for your support during the call. And looking forward to speaking to you all soon. Thanks again.